Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into my video. If you are new here, I am Isabel. I was born with Epstein's anomaly, which is a congenital heart disease. I also have a daughter that was born with also a congenital heart disease. Obviously, her condition is different than mine, and it is called pulmonary stenosis. So two complete different problems we both have. Well, I'm going to share with you guys my story of how I found out that I was possibly going to have a child with congenital heart disease. So considering my health problem and my hypothyroid problem, was automatically set to the high risk patient category. Okay, so I was told by my cardiologist that I've been seeing for about 35 years already, that in order for me to have children that I need to have my surgery. So I had my surgery at 16. Once I had my surgery, he cleared me and said, all right, you can have kids whenever, whenever you get married, whenever you decide to, you are now safe to have children. And I can have as many children as I want, and I am able to have children as normal as possible. So vaginal deliveries. And so finally the time came for me to get pregnant. I did get, an appointment with my cardiologist before getting pregnant just to get cleared. And I also did visit my cardiologist during my pregnancy. I think I visited him 3 times. Early in my pregnancy, mid-pregnancy, and sort of towards the end. So yeah, probably about 3 times, and the entire time my appointments were pretty smooth. No changes in my heart, no exerting of my heart, nothing, no heart related emergency visits as far as being pregnant, and any scares as far as that. However, for my pregnancy symptoms, that was a whole different story. I was miserable. I had what I call the world's worst nausea. I had the world's worst heightened sense of smell. I could not stand the smell of any food. Like, I wanted to throw up. I couldn't look at food. I had to unsubscribe to pages on Instagram and all that stuff because I just couldn't even look at food. Like, it was disgusting and gross to me. So I spent the first 3 months of my pregnancy in my room asleep with the world's worst nausea, not that many vomiting spells, probably like 2 or 3 times, and just like I was on the verge of vomiting, but I didn't vomit. So I was close, but I don't know. I felt like I was dying, to be honest. I felt miserable. I felt completely miserable, I'm not gonna lie. And today is the reason why I don't want no more pregnancies. Not the kid, it's just the whole pregnancy that I don't want to deal with. Like, I lost interest in doing anything for myself because I felt so bad. So my pregnancy was pretty smooth, like I said, just basically my pregnancy symptoms, no scares as far as my heart, no spontaneous arrhythmias or anything like that. My entire pregnancy was pretty fine. My exams, my checkups, everything was pretty smooth. So around week 32, I go to my perinatal. So my perinatal doctor is basically the doctor that takes care of high-risk patients, and they basically just look into and make sure that the baby's organs are being developed correctly, they are the right length, they are the right width, they are the right volume of size, the brain, the liquid of the brain, the spine, all that stuff. Just general information and rechecking all that because, again, you are a high-risk patient, things can go wrong. However, everything went by fine up until week 32. On week 32, I got to my appointment. The doctor was done. She said, you know what, it looks like the baby has a little bit of, thickening of the valve, and she explained to me, but honestly, at that point, my mind just went poof, and I can't capture anything of what she told me. And so, like I said, I was seeing both. I was seeing my OBGYN, and I was seeing a perinatal, which is a specialist, both like days apart. And everything had been fine up until week 32. So she said, I'm going to refer you to UCLA Westwood. They do these kinds of ultrasounds all day, every day, and they will be further able to diagnose the baby if or not, which she told me. I feel like I'm almost gonna be wrong. I can almost assure you that the baby's gonna be fine. It could be just the fact that she's already flipped down for labor. I mean, you are 32 weeks, she's already turned down, and it could be the angle that I'm looking at her valve in. So I could be wrong, but I'm not diagnosing you or diagnosing her with any health issue. We're gonna send you there, you're gonna get an appointment, they're gonna call you, and we'll go from there. So that appointment around that time, week 32, was given to me at week 36, almost at 37 weeks. So I didn't make it. I did not make it to my 37 weeks. I was 36 weeks, 5 days. I delivered on a Wednesday. On Wednesday, the 31st of May, and my appointment was for the 1st of June, and I was expected to deliver June 23rd. That was my delivery date. So that day I woke up not feeling well, and I told my husband, like, I have an appointment, I don't feel well, I don't think I'm going to be able to take your mom, because I was supposed to take his mom somewhere to an appointment. And I started crying, and I'm like, I don't feel well, I'm not going to be able to take your mom. So he's like, okay, come pick me up, which he was working very locally, thank goodness. I drove up like 4 or 5 miles to his job. I picked him up. We left his car at his job. He drove me to the clinic, and from the clinic, I get there and my blood pressure had spiked up. So that was the reason why I was feeling the way I was feeling. So the doctor says, you know what, your blood pressure, everything's fine. They looked at my heart, baby's heart, everything is fine, but it looks like your blood pressure is high and we're gonna have to monitor you at the hospital. So I was like, oh, Jesus, I didn't want this to happen. Like, I kind of already mentally had thought, this is something that could possibly happen with me. My sisters, 3 of my sisters had preeclampsia, so did my mom. Early delivery for them, induced. And so, okay, I say to my husband, all right, you know, they're just gonna monitor me, I'm sure it's gonna go back down. Probably just the fact that I don't feel well. So that day went by so fast. So fast. I can't even put the pieces together. Like, sometimes I try and remember, because I don't know, it's just like it happened so fast. So I get to the hospital at around 4:30 afternoon. Okay, they check me in and they're like, okay, you know, we're gonna monitor you for a couple of hours, we're just gonna make sure your blood pressure goes back down. Once it's back down, we'll release you. So I told my husband, you know what, if you want, just leave me here, you know, there's no point of you staying here with me, and I'm just gonna be doing nothing. If you want, just go back to work. When they release me, I'll call you and you can come back. That didn't happen. So he went back to work, and his boss sent him back. He said, no, your job is to be over there with your wife. She needs you right now. You know, just go. Don't even turn on the computer, just go. So they contact my doctor, my OBGYN. They let her know what's going on. Things just unraveled so fast before I can think. Like, I never even thought of like vlogging. I didn't even get to call my mom. I just text my sisters. I text them and I let them know what was going on, and I was like, please call my mom, let her know what's happening, because, you know, nurses kept coming in and out of my room. I was connected, I was plugged. They prepared me like if I was gonna have the baby, and I'm just like, okay, well, what's going on? So then they're like, okay, so we might keep you here until you have the baby. You might have the baby Friday. That was a Wednesday, right? So it's like, okay. So I call my husband. I'm like, hey, you know, they're telling me this and this and that, and they're telling me I might have the baby on Friday. Then from Friday it went to Thursday, and in the meantime that they were telling me this, the doctor still had not came in. So they're like, all right, your doctor's in room 11. She's delivering a baby right now. As soon as she's done, we will inform her of what's going on, and we'll go from there. So I tell my husband, go home, bring my diaper bag. Mind you, I had already prepared my diaper bag. Like, my diaper bag and my bag was just ready. I put my paperwork in there. I didn't even have my ID to show the nurses because I already had my paperwork in there. And so he goes home, picks up the stuff. It was a whole rumble of emotion, because then he had 2 cars in his job space, so he had to call his brother to come get him. so they can take one car back home, then go back to his job, get that car, and come to the hospital. I know, I'm telling you, it was a day. And so then, you know, he finally arrives, and by the time he arrives, I had already came to the doctor, spoke to her, and she had already told me we're having the baby tonight. So the moment my husband walks in, the nurse in the hallway tells him, we're having the baby tonight. So my husband walks into the room, and he just looks white, and I'm like, what happened? And I thought he was gonna tell me like something happened. And he's like, the nurse just told me that you're having the baby tonight. And I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, you know, the doctor, I explained to him what had happened, and he's like, okay. So a nurse just comes and she's like, here, put this on. It was a bag without his gown that he was supposed to be getting, and they were trying to get me to get induced, but my doctor was not really about that, because she was like, look, labor is very, very straining on the body. Your blood pressure is already up, you're already having contractions. I do not want to wait and see, what if it goes higher, what if it doesn't go low, and we're waiting for it to go low but things go worse. This is why I say in a lot of cases, when it comes to the doctors telling you you need to get something done, please do it. You do not want to wait till something goes wrong. So my husband is like, okay. He puts on his clothes. Immediately the nurses come, they start shaving me. And I was just like, what is this lady doing? I don't know, they did all kinds of things to me, and like I said, I hate that it was a blur moment. A lot of those moments were blurred out of my mind, and today I can't remember a lot of things. They're like, okay, you know, let's take you over here. They take me to the operating room, they sit me down, and they put the shot in my back. I did not feel any pain. I don't know if they sprayed numb me, I don't know if they did anything, but I didn't feel any pain. But I did get cold. As soon as they put it in, I started like shivering, and they're like, okay, it's completely normal, it's freezing in here, you know, just, you're able to lay down now. They laid me down, and like I said, it was, a lot of those moments were blurred. I'm assuming it's because of the anesthesia, the moment, the shock, the emotions, you know, and all that stuff. So finally, my daughter was born at 9:20 in the night of Wednesday. And you know, they're like, oh, you know, do you want to see? And they open this little curtain thing, and all I see is like a pew slash of blood flying, and I was just like, nope, I'm not gonna look. I got very nauseous. When they brought out the baby, they tried to show it to me. They wrapped her up, and they were trying to show her to me, and I was just like I wanted to throw up. So I was just like, I don't know if I was conscious enough. I don't know if I was like in the zone, in the anesthesia, if it was, I don't know. It's just so weird. And so I was just like, no, I want to throw up. I want to throw up. I didn't want to throw up on her. I did not throw up. It was just a fair reaction of the body going through the whole pulling and tugging. It makes you nauseous. Some people throw up, some people don't. But overall, I was okay. Finally, I turn to my right, and I see them over there like kind of struggling, because I did not hear her cry. I see them like pulling wires and draining her nose and her mouth and suctioning, but nothing was happening. So I was just like, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with her? Because I did not hear her cry. And they're like, oh no, she's fine, you know, she's fine. She just hasn't cried. According to what my husband says, the doctors and the nurses did panic because she was not crying. And I don't know, she was just not a crying child. Like, she was fine, she did not cry. But then finally, you know, time goes, I see her. My husband goes out to his family, shows them the picture, comes back and shows me the picture of her. So I will pop a picture of her on the screen. This is the picture my husband showed me. If you guys look at her nails are a little bit purple, and that means there's some sort of lack of oxygen. So the moment he showed me that picture, I was just like, oh my god, she's so cute. Like, is that really my daughter? And I look at her nails and I said, yeah, she has a heart problem. She has a heart problem. So finally, they take her, they clean her, they prepare her. I'm over here in the recuperating ICU. And I keep repeating, like, where's my baby, where's my daughter, and give her to me, and try to give her the pacifier and stuff like that. Like I said, a lot of these moments were blurred, and I don't know why that happens, or that happened to me. I don't know if it was just like I was just in complete shock that things just unraveled so quick and I delivered. But for the most part, I'm very thankful. My delivery, pregnancy, and everything went well. And yeah, the doctor came in, the pediatrician came in, and then we had Dr. Tan come in, and he confirmed that he had already, seen Valentina and that she had pulmonary stenosis. This to me was something very, very mind-blowing because, like I said, my entire pregnancy, all I ever prayed for was a healthy child. And to know that, that I did as much as I could and prayed as much as I could to God to just a safe, healthy baby. Things, they don't always go the way we want them, but considering how her health has been, her condition, she is very on a normal baseline. Finally, they explained to me the severity of her problem. Basically, pulmonary stenosis is her valve was thickened. So for example, this is a valve and it was thickened, so it was more like if it was closed from tissue in the inner part of the valve. It wasn't allowing enough blood flow. So he said, we're gonna monitor her, we're gonna see how things develop, and she's gonna need surgery. And they explained to me the worst case scenario, this and this and that. Dr. Tan, I was new at this, a whole nother condition to learn aside of mine. I was crying. I was just like, what the heck, what is this? I didn't want to blow things out of proportion because I had not been educated myself on her condition enough to know if it's something that I should really worry about. But the first thing that came to my mind was just a lot of children and families and parents that I follow on Instagram that have very complex health children that are connected to machines, that are connected, and so those were the things that I was picturing. And so yeah, some days pass. Doctor says, all right, bring her in to her appointment, and everything's fine. Then like 2 weeks later, he's like, okay, come again. They do her exam, and he calls me like an hour and a half after I was home, and he exactly confirmed, your daughter needs surgery. At that moment, I just looked at my husband, I looked at my daughter, and I just started crying like, how am I gonna do this? First of all, I just gave birth. I had a C-section. My blood pressure was high. The blues and the whole, situation sinking into you that you're now a parent, then that you're in charge of a child and your child has a heart problem. And then going home 2 days later, come back, go to the emergency and get to stay for about a day and a half because she was experiencing some jaundice, and she had to be put under the UV light, and I couldn't touch her, and I couldn't burp her, and I couldn't get her out, and that was already traumatizing. So then the doctor confirms, we got to get the surgery done, we got to do it, we got to, as soon as possible. So I was like, okay. It was then that I let my family know that my daughter had a problem. I did not want to tell them just yet when she was born because, again, I was not educated on her issue and I didn't want to freak out my family. So at this point, it was when I messaged my family, called my mom crying, and I told her my daughter needs surgery and I don't know how that's going to happen, how that's going to go. So her surgery was scheduled for June 29th, 2017. So she was born May 31st. She had her surgery at 29 days old. It was done at Miller's Hospital in Long Beach. We checked in like at 6 in the morning, and it was so torturing because she was only a month old and she was asking for food every 3 hours. So after midnight, I could not feed her anymore. I had to give her her last feeding, and she woke up at midnight, at 3, at 6 in the morning again for a feeding. At 6 in the morning, we got to the hospital and she was crying and crying and crying because she wanted to eat. It was the most traumatizing, like, stressful experience that you want to feed your child on demand. It's asking to feed at every 3 hours. But from the time of birth to the time of her surgery, we had days where She did not want to eat. She was like unresponsive one day, freaked me out, and that is because of her condition. She randomly would just, boom, vomit all the milk, and we would have to refeed her because it seems like she was having more than she could fit in her stomach. Overall, traumatizing first 29 days of life, because they did tell me I had to check her oxygen. I had to make sure her oxygen levels were fine. I didn't have a pulse ox, so I had to keep a close eye on her, making sure her lips or her nails wouldn't turn blue or anything like that. And again, like I said, considering me being a first-time mom, C-section, done, I couldn't walk right, I couldn't do much, caring for a baby, all these things as a first-time parent, then you have a health problem, then jaundice, then a surgery. It was very traumatic. It was honestly a very traumatic experience for me, and that's another thing that contributes to me like saying no, I don't want to have more kids, because it was a very traumatic experience and I don't ever wish it upon anyone. So her surgery procedure was only 2 hours long, okay? So she went to surgery at 8 o'clock in the morning, and that was the hardest thing I had ever had to do. Like, I just hugged her and I told her that I love her, and that I would pray to God that I would get my baby back, because again, I was not educated. I was not educated on her condition, and I didn't know exactly like the severity or the dangers, or I just felt like putting my 29-year-old child under the knife, under anesthesia, is just very hard, you know? So her procedure was at Miller's in Long Beach, and Dr. Tan was great. Her procedure was 2 hours long, which seemed like forever. She came back from surgery a little whiny, but she was fine. They did keep her overnight just to make sure, because she was a very young age with that type of procedure. As soon as she woke up, she started chugging milk, and she gained weight so fast. She was so thin her entire first 29 days born, but after that procedure, her intake and food went skyrocketed. She gained so much weight, and it was all pretty normal. It was just the fact that she was not eating well. She was eating 20-30 milliliters or cc's, I don't even know how they count it anymore, but it was very little, like 2 ounces or less. And it was, like I said, it was a very traumatic experience, a very you know, watching her while she sleeps, make sure she drinks, make sure she eats well, make sure she's breathing. I tried to breastfeed her, but she just couldn't latch. I tried to pump, but she drank that milk, but she also did not successfully latch. By the time the machine came through, my milk was already done. Like, it was out of my breast. So I tried as much as I could, you know, and I don't regret it, and I don't feel bad. I tried. I did as best as I can. But yeah, that was basically my experience after her surgery. Everything has been fine. She has gotten checkups every year. Right now, her last checkup was last year, and she does not get checked until 2022. Her health condition from her heart has been very stable. Most of the time, they kind of almost promise you like she will not need another surgery. Basically what they do is they go in through the groin and go in through the valve, through the vein to the valve, and basically what they do is they get like a little tube, right? So this little tube, it goes in and it inflates. It's called the balloon procedure. So basically what it does, has an attached little like balloon, and it opens. They blow it up for about 30 minutes, let it stay blown up in there, which means it stretches that valve and it opens it up for flow. Once she completes the time, they deflate it, take it out, and that's it. The balloon does not stay in the baby's body. Her recovery went pretty smooth. Like I said, she finished eating, she did everything well. Man, I don't know if I should talk about this, but I don't know if I should add it to this video. So we're gonna talk about something that I have never talked about, and I'm gonna tell you guys right now. I left my daughter in the hospital. I had to leave my daughter in the hospital. There was so much going on with me, and my blood pressure was just so high. I was feeling like I couldn't breathe. And the nurses there did not that they refuse, but they just can't. I'm like, you know what, can you just lend me a monitor and check my blood pressure? If it's high, then I know that it's high, and that's why I feel the way I feel. But they're like, no, we can't do that. And so I felt so bad. I felt something was gonna happen to me. That same morning, I felt it. Like, I knew something was happening with me, but I didn't want to tell my husband. But I was close to telling him, you're gonna have to take her to get her surgery, because I don't feel well at all. Like, I cannot do this. I don't know how or from where I pulled strength out to take her to the hospital, but I did. I went with my husband. So I felt so bad. My blood pressure was so high. The nurse ended up telling me, you know what, I think you should just best go home and rest. And I was like, no, how am I gonna leave my daughter here? Like, she just had surgery. She's like, look, I know how you feel. I'm gonna take care of your daughter, and I'm gonna stay here in the room, and I'm gonna feed her. I'm in charge of her. She's gonna be my baby for the night. So you go home, you rest, and relax. Right now, we need you to be okay. You're her mom, and you're her first source of care. So please go home, take care of yourself, do whatever you have to do, go get some sleep, come back tomorrow morning. And that's something I don't talk about because I feel bad. I know it was the best decision, and it was not what I wanted, but I had to do it. I had to go home. I went home, I took my medication, I laid down, my oxygen was fine, my blood pressure was really high. I went to sleep, woke up like around 6:30, almost 7 in the morning, drove to the hospital. My baby was there, very well taken care of. That's an experience and a topic that I never talk about because, like I said, I feel bad knowing that my daughter needed me, but she also needed me to be well. And yeah, I had to leave her there. I had to, it wasn't a choice. I didn't want to do it, but only thing I could have done was check in the emergency downstairs, but then my husband would have his wife and his daughter in the hospital, and I didn't want to do that, So I said, okay, I'll go home. And the nurses were very, very, very kind. They were very good, very amazing. Miller's Hospital, amazing. I am truly grateful for the care, for everything they did for me, for my daughter, and everything. And it was only 24 hours, okay? So much happened and it was only 24 hours. So yeah, that was my whole situation. And that's exactly why sometimes I say, like, I don't want no more kids. And it's not because I don't want the kids, it's just this whole situation traumatized me. Like, it traumatized me so much. So I just want to tell you guys that you also are important. As a parent, your health is important, and if you need to go and rest, please do it. Your child needs you more, and your child needs you healthy and strong, and you need to do it for your children. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this video brings you some sort of relief, relativeness, relative. You can relate to my situation, and everything turns out fine, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. Please do not forget to subscribe right under here. Hit the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I upload, and like the video. That helps us a lot. And comment anything or any questions that you might have, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.